I were starting my interior design career from absolute zero this year, knowing everything I know now after 5 years of building my own design studio to 6 figures, there are a few key habits I double down on that would fast track your success and save you years of trial and error. And in this video, I'm going to share the step-by-step habit blueprint inspired by the book Atomic Habits that will help you become a designer faster, even if you have no degree and no clients yet. Plus, I'll reveal the one habit mistake that 90% of aspiring interior designers make that keeps them stuck and dreaming instead of actually building their career. So grab a notebook, because by the end of this video, you'll have a practical plan you can start today that will make design work part of your daily life and eventually your career. If you haven't already read Atomic Habits, then this is your sign to do that immediately, because it has so many great points and it's definitely one of my favorite books. I have it as an audiobook and a hard copy, and I've read it at least 4 times. In Atomic Habits, James Clear says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." For aspiring interior designers, that's a game-changing mindset shift. Saying, "I want to be a designer" is not enough. It's the daily systems you create that will make it real. You need consistent, repeatable habits that weave design into your everyday life so it becomes part of who you are, not just a dream you hope to reach someday. Because that someday may never come unless you do something about it. But I also know how daunting it can be to start anything when you don't even know where to start. So here's a simple way to apply it starting today. Commit to just 30 minutes a day of intentional design work. No excuses. If you don't have clients yet, that's perfectly fine. Use that time to create mood boards, sketch layouts, even if it's just with pen and paper or in your mind, or redesign a room in your own home for practice. One of my favorite exercises, and something that helped me early on in my career, is doing what I like to call design dissections. So I'll go on Pinterest or Instagram and find a room that I really love, and instead of just saving it and forgetting about it, I'll spend a few minutes studying it like a detective. How high is the baseboard? What's the countertop profile edge? Why did they mix those materials, textures, or colors? Did they take the upper cabinets all the way to the ceiling? And if not, why? What's the balance between symmetry and asymmetry in the space? This kind of detailed observation trains your eye to spot what works visually and why. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, not just in what you like, but in what makes a space feel cohesive and high-end. And equally important, you'll also start to notice what doesn't work, which is just as valuable. That's the magic of the 1% rule. These small daily improvements compound over time. Every 30-minute session is a tiny step towards becoming more skilled, more confident, and more aligned with the designer you want to be. Think about it. If you spend just 30 minutes a day for a full year, that adds up to 7 days and 6 hours that you've fully dedicated and trained your eyes to become a better designer. You can't tell me that won't make a difference. One of the biggest lessons I took away from Atomic Habits was this: environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. If your surroundings don't inspire creativity, it's going to be much harder to consistently work on your craft. Our environment has a huge impact on us, the way we think and the way we feel. So your environment should make it as easy as possible to step into designer mode. Now, this doesn't mean you need a Pinterest-worthy home. Trust me, I live in a very un-Pinterest-worthy 1,000-square-foot townhouse with my husband and a 5-year-old, so I get it. But here's what you can do. Create a dedicated design corner in your home. It doesn't have to be big, even a small desk or a single chair will do, and stock it with things that spark creativity. This can be fabric samples, paint swatches, design magazines, a sketchbook, your laptop with design software, or your Pinterest boards. And once you've added the things that inspire you, remove anything that distracts you. So that means no TV, no clutter pile, no laundry waiting to be folded. When you consistently work in this space, your brain starts associating it with design work. It becomes a physical trigger that says, it's time to be a designer now. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to help my brain figure out what to think and feel. Maybe it's because of my mom brain, but I'm telling you, it works. James Clear shares one of my favorite strategies. The quickest way to build a new habit is to stack it on top of a current one. The idea is simple. Link your new design habit to something you already do every day so it feels natural and automatic. Some daily examples could be, while you have your morning coffee, open Pinterest and save 3 inspiring images. After dinner, spend 10 minutes sketching a room layout or learning a new skill in SketchUp or Canva. While brushing your teeth at night, memorize 1 standard measurement. For example, A standard kitchen cabinet box is 34.5 inches tall, and the countertop is 1.5 inches thick, making the total base cabinet height 36 inches. Of course, there are some variations to this, but this is a common standard. If you want to learn all the essential measurements you need to know, I've included everything in my Aspiring Interior Designers course, which is linked below. So here are your action steps. Pick one habit you already do daily, and then stack your new design habit right after it. And it's important not to overwhelm yourself, so keep it small at first. 5 or 10 minutes is enough to build momentum, and you can build up from there. Over time, these mini habits will feel effortless, and you'll start stacking more design-related activities without even thinking about it. A powerful lesson from Atomic Habits is the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. It might seem dumb, but it's because starting is the hardest part. And once you start, you usually keep going. On days when you're busy or tired, you might not have 2 hours to work on design, but you do have 2 minutes. And during those 2 minutes, you can sketch one furniture arrangement idea, write down 2 things you'd change about your bedroom layout, take a quick photo of a room, and make notes about what's working and what isn't. You don't need to spend 2 hours to actually feel like you've achieved something. And actually, setting big goals can sometimes backfire. For me, like many people, I'm just not moving enough. So I set a goal of 10,000 steps every day, but halfway through the day, if I'm only at like 4,000 steps and I knew I wouldn't hit 10K, I just would give up. The gap felt too big, so I ended up not walking at all. And I realized I was actually doing less because my goal felt impossible. So I dropped it to 5,000 steps, and anything beyond that became a bonus. And with that little change, walking felt doable. Even a 20-minute walk became something I could actually enjoy and not feel like a failure. And that's way better than doing nothing. So this is your action step. Make a 2-minute design habits list and keep it somewhere visible. On your busiest days, pick one thing from that list and just do it. This keeps the momentum alive, and momentum is what builds consistency, not motivation. James Clear says, what gets measured gets managed. When you're starting out, it's easy to feel like you're not improving, but that's probably because you're not tracking your growth. Sometimes you just need to step back and look at the bigger picture. And here's a simple way to do it. Keep a design growth journal. This can be digital or a simple notebook. Each day, log what you worked on. Mood boards, sketches, client proposals, portfolio updates. Once a month, review your entries. Ask yourself, what's improving? Do I know materials I didn't last month? Can I recall standard measurements that used to just be numbers? These may seem small, but they're real steps in the right direction. Seeing your progress on paper builds confidence. It's a reminder that even on days when it feels slow, you are moving forward. I know I said this a lot, but this is my favorite concept from Atomic Habits. Don't focus on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. So that means you need to stop saying, I want to be a designer, and start saying, I am a designer. Most people seriously underestimate the power of how they speak about themselves. And yes, the first few times you say it, it might feel like you're lying, but the more you speak it, the more real it becomes. When you identify as a designer, your habits naturally shift to align with that identity. I'm not gonna lie, imposter syndrome will show up hard, but you just have to push through that self-doubt because there just isn't a way to evolve into the new person you want to be without doing the uncomfortable work in the middle. So here are your action steps. Introduce yourself as an interior designer, even before you have paying clients. I remember when I first started calling myself an interior designer, I almost felt sick to my stomach because I just felt like I was lying. But now I'm so proud to call myself an interior designer. And share your work publicly, whether it's redesigns in your own home or conceptual mood boards. And I know how vulnerable it can feel to have your work out there, but the best way to get practice is by actually doing the thing. So block whoever you need to block, but make sure you post that shit. Talk about your new interior design career and projects with friends and family. This builds confidence and opens doors to opportunities. No one is going to sell you and your business better than you. And that means you need to blab about it to anyone and everyone who will listen. You can practice on people you feel safe with first and then branch out from there. You become what you consistently do. And if you're doing design every day, you're not just becoming a designer, you are one. Like anything that's worth having, becoming an interior designer doesn't happen overnight. But it all starts with small, consistent habits. And if you are consistent, you will eventually get there. One mood board today, one sketch tomorrow, one conversation with a potential client next week. Over time, those tiny steps add up to something big. And if you want a clear roadmap for building your skills, landing clients, and running your own design business, That's exactly what my course is for. I included everything I know, including all of my contracts and templates to run my six-figure design business. I'll link it in the description below, so go check it out.